Rio 2 is a vibrant animated adventure that takes viewers deep into the heart of the Amazon rainforest, following the beloved blue macaw family on a journey that tests the bonds of love, family, and survival. Set 3 years after the events of the first film, the story opens with Blue and Jewel raising their 3 energetic children in the bustling city of Rio de Janeiro. Carla, the musically inclined eldest daughter, BIA, the intellectual middle child fascinated by all things scientific, and Tiago, the mischievous youngest son who inherited his father's adventurous spirit, have grown up in the comfort of domesticated life, under the care of their human companions, Linda and Tulio. The film establishes its premise during a spectacular New Year's celebration that fills the skies of Rio with brilliant fireworks and pulsating samba rhythms. As the family dances together with their friends Rafael, the toucan, Pedro the cardinal, and Nico the canary, viewers witness the comfortable routine these rare Spix's macaws have established in their urban sanctuary. However, beneath the surface celebration, tensions begin to emerge as Jewel expresses growing concerns about her children becoming too domesticated, much like their father Blue. Her wild instincts tell her that city life, despite its safety and comfort, might be depriving her offspring of their true nature as magnificent creatures of the rainforest. The catalyst for the family's grand adventure arrives through a Linda and Tulio, the dedicated ornithologists who have been instrumental in protecting Blue and Jewel, appear on screen from deep within the Amazon rainforest with groundbreaking news. After years of searching and hoping, they have discovered evidence of other Spix's macaws living in the wild. The discovery of a single blue feather becomes a beacon of hope, suggesting that Blue and Jewel might not be the last of their species after all. This revelation ignites something primal within Jewel, awakening memories of her life before captivity and filling her with an overwhelming desire to reconnect with her heritage. Despite Blue's reluctance to leave their comfortable life in Rio, Jewel's passionate arguments about the importance of showing their children their true identity ultimately prevail. She believes that experiencing life in the wild will teach Carla, Bia, and Tiago valuable lessons about their heritage and help them understand what it truly means to be a Spix's macaw. The children, thrilled by the prospect of adventure, eagerly support their mother's proposal, leaving Blue feeling outnumbered and apprehensive about venturing into the unknown wilderness he has spent his entire life avoiding. Preparations for the journey reveal the stark differences between Blue's domesticated mindset and Jewel's wild instincts. While Jewel focuses on the emotional and spiritual significance of their upcoming adventure, Blue approaches the trip with typical human-like preparation, packing a fanny pack filled with GPS devices, maps, emergency supplies, and various technological gadgets he believes will ensure their safety. This fundamental difference in their approaches to life becomes a recurring theme throughout their Amazon adventure, highlighting the ongoing tension between civilization and nature that defines their relationship. The departure from Rio is both exciting and bittersweet, as the family says farewell to their urban friends while embarking on the adventure of a lifetime. Rafael, Nico, and Pedro decide to join the expedition, motivated by their own agenda to scout for new talent to perform in the upcoming carnival celebration. Their presence adds comedic relief to the journey while also providing emotional support for the family as they venture into unfamiliar territory. Louis, the slobbering bulldog who has become a cherished member of their extended family, attempts to follow but accidentally gets left behind, creating one of the film's early moments of physical comedy. As the flock flies over Brazil's diverse landscape, the visual spectacle unfolds with breathtaking beauty. The animation showcases the country's incredible geographic diversity, from the urban sprawl of Rio de Janeiro to the endless green canopy of the Amazon rainforest. The journey itself becomes a character in the story, representing the transition from the known to the unknown, from safety to adventure, and from domestication to wildness. Each mile they travel takes them further from the familiar comforts of city life and closer to a world that exists according to different rules and rhythms. Meanwhile, danger lurks in multiple forms throughout the Amazon region. Big Boss, a ruthless leader of illegal logging operations, has learned about Linda and Tulio's expedition through his network of informants. Recognizing the threat that environmental protection efforts pose to his profitable but destructive business, he orders his henchmen to track down the scientists and eliminate any obstacles to their continued deforestation activities. This subplot introduces the film's environmental message, highlighting the ongoing conflict between conservation efforts and economic exploitation that threatens ecosystems worldwide. Even more sinister is the return of Nigel, the psychopathic cockatoo, whose previous encounter with Blue left him permanently flightless and consumed with a burning desire for revenge. No longer the magnificent flying predator he once was, Nigel has assembled a new team of accomplices to help him achieve his vengeful goals. Charlie, a silent anteater with a mysterious past, provides muscle for Nigel's schemes, while Gabi, a tiny poison dart frog with an unhealthy obsession with the cockatoo, brings both deadly toxins and manic energy to their villainous partnership. Gabi's unrequited love for Nigel adds a darkly comedic element to their relationship, as she interprets his indifference and occasional cruelty as signs of affection. The arrival of Blue's family in the Amazon rainforest marks the beginning of the story's most significant character development. After days of flying through increasingly dense jungle, they are discovered by scouts from a hidden flock of Bicks macaws living in an uncharted section of the forest. The emotional reunion between Jewel and her long-lost father Eduardo becomes one of the film's most powerful moments, as years of separation and uncertainty give way to tears of joy and relief. Eduardo, an imposing patriarch who has spent years protecting his flock from human encroachment, initially regards Blue with suspicion and barely concealed disdain. The contrast between Eduardo and Blue could not be more stark. Eduardo embodies everything that wild Bicks macaws represent: strength, leadership, survival instincts, and a deep connection to the natural world. His weathered appearance and commanding presence speak to a lifetime spent navigating the challenges of rainforest life, protecting his family and flock from predators, human threats, and environmental dangers. Blue, on the other hand, represents the domesticated bird who has never had to hunt for food, build his own shelter, or defend his territory from rivals. His fanny pack, GPS device, and general dependence on human conveniences mark him as an outsider in this primitive environment. The introduction of Roberto, Jewel's childhood friend and former romantic interest, adds another layer of complexity to Blue's already challenging situation. Roberto possesses all the qualities that Eduardo admires in a potential son-in-law. He is athletic, confident, skilled in aerial maneuvers, and completely comfortable in the wild. His easy familiarity with Jewel and their shared memories of growing up together in the rainforest create an immediate bond that makes Blue feel even more like an outsider. Roberto's smooth charm and natural abilities serve as a constant reminder of everything Blue feels he lacks as a wild bird. As the family settles into life with the flock, each member faces their own unique challenges and discoveries. Carla, with her passion for music, finds herself drawn to the sophisticated rhythms and melodies of rainforest bird songs, which are far more complex and varied than anything she experienced in the city. Her musical talents earn her respect among the young birds of the flock, giving her a sense of belonging and purpose she never felt in Rio. Bia's scientific mind becomes fascinated by the intricate ecosystems surrounding them, as she observes and catalogs the countless species of plants and animals that call the rainforest home. Tiago, the most adventurous of the three children, throws himself wholeheartedly into learning the skills necessary for survival in the wild. His natural athleticism and fearless attitude make him a quick study in aerial maneuvers, foraging techniques, and the social dynamics of flock life. Unlike his father, Tiago adapts quickly to the physical demands of rainforest living, earning approval from Eduardo and establishing friendships with other young macaws who admire his enthusiasm and determination. While his children flourish in their new environment, Blue struggles with every aspect of wild bird life. His attempts to forage for food result in embarrassing failures that require rescue from more experienced flock members. His dependence on technological gadgets becomes a source of ridicule among birds who have learned to navigate using natural instincts and environmental cues. Even simple social interactions become complicated when Blue's domesticated mannerisms and speech patterns mark him as different from the other birds. The film's exploration of identity and belonging reaches its peak during a sequence where Blue attempts to prove his worth by competing in traditional flock activities. His failure to master basic survival skills becomes a source of frustration not only for himself, but also for Eduardo, who questions whether someone so dependent on human civilization can truly be trusted to protect and provide for Jewel and her children. These doubts create tension within the family, as Jewel finds herself caught between loyalty to her father and support for her husband. Meanwhile, Nigel's revenge plot begins to unfold with characteristic cunning and theatrical flair. Disguising himself as a performer, he infiltrates a talent show organized by Rafael, Pedro, and Nico to scout performers for the upcoming carnival celebration. His dramatic performance, filled with dark humor and thinly veiled threats, wins him a place in their traveling show, positioning him perfectly to strike it blue when the moment is right. Gabby's enthusiastic support for Nigel's performance adds comedic relief, while also advancing their plan to get close to their intended victims. The talent show sequences showcase the film's celebration of Brazilian musical culture, featuring a variety of performances that highlight different musical styles and traditions. These scenes serve multiple purposes. They provide entertainment value through catchy songs and colorful visuals, advance the plot by bringing various characters together, and celebrate the rich cultural heritage that makes Brazil unique. The music becomes a universal language that bridges differences between characters and creates moments of joy and connection amidst the surrounding conflicts. Environmental themes become increasingly prominent as the story progresses, with the illegal logging operations serving as a constant threat to the rainforest and its inhabitants. The loggers' destruction of natural habitats represents a real-world problem that affects wildlife populations globally, making the film's message relevant to contemporary environmental issues. Big Boss's characterization as a purely profit-driven antagonist who shows no concern for environmental consequences reflects the ongoing conflict between economic development and conservation. Linda and Tulio's capture by the logging crew adds urgency to the environmental subplot while also creating personal stakes for characters who have been instrumental in protecting Blue and his family. Their dedication to scientific research and wildlife conservation represents hope for positive human impact on natural environments, contrasting sharply with the destructive activities of the illegal loggers. Their predicament forces other characters to take action, moving the story toward its climactic confrontation between conservation and exploitation. The relationship between Blue and Eduardo reaches a crucial turning point when territorial disputes arise between the Spix's macaws and their traditional rivals, the Scarlet Macaws. Led by the aggressive Felipe, the Scarlet Macaws view the Spix's macaws' presence as an intrusion into their territory, setting up a conflict that will determine access to valuable food sources. Eduardo's explanation of the territorial dynamics reveals the complex social structures that govern rainforest bird communities, where survival often depends on maintaining control over resources and defending territory from competitors. Blue's well-intentioned but misguided attempt to resolve the territorial dispute peacefully results in disaster when his interference accidentally escalates the conflict into an all-out war between the two macaw species. His urban sensibilities and naive belief that problems can be solved through reasonable discussion clash with the harsh realities of wilderness survival, where territorial disputes are often resolved through displays of strength and dominance. The incident further damages his reputation among the Spix's macaws and provides Eduardo with additional evidence that his domesticated son-in-law is unsuited for wild bird life. The transformation of the territorial war into a soccer match provides one of the film's most entertaining and culturally significant sequences. This brilliant plot device allows the conflict to be resolved through competition rather than violence while also celebrating Brazil's passionate love affair with soccer. The match becomes a metaphor for the ways that civilized societies can channel competitive instincts into structured activities that minimize harm while still allowing participants to demonstrate skill and determination. However, Blue's participation in the soccer match leads to another humiliating failure when his lack of athletic ability results in him accidentally scoring an own goal, costing the Spix's macaws their territorial rights and access to crucial food sources. This defeat represents the lowest point in Blue's journey, as his good intentions once again result in negative consequences for the birds he is trying to help. The shame of his failure weighs heavily on him, reinforcing his growing belief that he will never be able to fit into the world that means so much to his wife and children. The patriarch's criticism of Blue's inadequacies as a wild bird reflects deeper concerns about his daughter's choice of mate and the future of their grandchildren. Eduardo's perspective, shaped by years of protecting his flock from numerous threats, prioritizes survival skills and natural instincts over the gentler qualities that originally attracted Jewel to Blue. This conflict highlights the cultural divide between domesticated and wild bird communities. Jewel finds herself increasingly torn between her loyalty to her husband and her desire to reconnect with her father and heritage. Her growing appreciation for the wild bird lifestyle and her children's obvious happiness in their natural environment create internal conflict about what kind of future she wants for her family. The ease with which Roberto fits into her life during their time in the Amazon serves as a constant reminder of the path not taken, causing her to question decisions she made years earlier when she chose to stay with Blue in Rio. The film's exploration of parental expectations and family dynamics deepens as Eduardo expresses his hopes that Jewel and her children will remain permanently in the Amazon. His vision of a reunited family living according to traditional Spix's macaw values conflicts with Blue's desire to eventually return to the safety and comfort of city life. These competing visions of the future create tension that threatens to split the family, forcing characters to examine what they truly value and what sacrifices they are willing to make for love and belonging. Nigel's revenge plot reaches its most dangerous phase when he begins systematically stalking Blue and his family, using his knowledge of their daily routines and habits to plan the perfect moment to strike. His partnership with Gaba provides him with access to deadly poison that could eliminate his enemies quickly and efficiently, while Charlie's strength ensures that physical confrontations will favor Nigel's team. The cockatoo's patient approach to revenge demonstrates his intelligence and cunning, making him a formidable antagonist who learns from his previous mistakes. Her elaborate musical numbers expressing her feelings for Nigel provide some of the film's most memorable entertainment, while also advancing the plot and developing her character. These songs blend romance, comedy, and menace in ways that reflect the film's overall tone and Brazilian musical influences. The escalating environmental crisis forces all characters to confront the reality that their personal conflicts pale in comparison to the existence. Big Boss's logging operations have accelerated their destructive activities, clear-cutting vast areas of forest that serve as habitat for countless species. The visual impact of this environmental destruction serves as a powerful reminder of what is at stake, transforming the story from a personal journey into a fight for survival that affects all rainforest inhabitants. Linda and Tulio's scientific work takes on added urgency as they document the biodiversity that is being lost to deforestation. Their research represents hope that human knowledge and dedication can make a positive difference in conservation efforts, but their capture by the logging crew demonstrates the very real dangers faced by people who challenge powerful economic interests. Their predicament serves as a call to action for the bird characters, who must decide whether to remain hidden in safety or take risks to protect the humans who have protected them. Blue's character arc reaches its most crucial development when he witnesses the full extent of the environmental destruction firsthand. The sight of bulldozers and chainsaws destroying the pristine forest that his family has come to love triggers a transformation in his perspective and priorities. For the first time, his domesticated background becomes an advantage rather than a liability, as his knowledge of human technology and behavior allows him to understand the loggers' methods and develop strategies to combat them. This pivotal moment marks Blue's evolution from a passive character who relies on others for protection to an active hero who takes responsibility for defending what matters most to him. His unique combination of technological knowledge and genuine care for both his family and their environment positions him to play a crucial role in the upcoming confrontation. The realization that his different background gives him valuable insights rather than just limitations represents a major breakthrough in his self-confidence and sense of purpose. The alliance between the Spix's macaws and their former enemies, the Scarlet Macaws, demonstrates how external threats can unite former rivals in common cause. Felipe's willingness to set aside territorial disputes in favor of protecting their shared habitat shows the kind of wisdom and leadership that environmental crises often require. This cooperation between competing groups reflects real-world conservation efforts that require collaboration between different communities and interests to address shared challenges. Eduardo's gradual recognition of Blue's unique value to their cause. While he continues to value traditional wild bird skills and instincts, he begins to appreciate how Blue's different perspective and knowledge base can contribute to their collective survival. This evolution in Eduardo's thinking parallels the film's broader message about the importance of embracing diversity and recognizing that different backgrounds can bring valuable strengths to common endeavors. The preparation for the final confrontation with the loggers showcases the power of community cooperation and creative problem-solving. Birds throughout the rainforest ecosystem contribute their unique abilities to the collective effort, from the smallest hummingbirds serving as scouts to the largest toucans, providing aerial support. This collaborative approach to addressing the environmental Blue's leadership during the planning phase demonstrates how his domesticated background has actually prepared him for this moment. His understanding of human psychology, technology, and organizational behavior allows him to develop strategies that wild birds alone could never conceive. His ability to think like the humans they are fighting gives the Bird Alliance crucial advantages in anticipating and countering the loggers' responses to their defensive efforts. The climactic battle between the birds and the logging crew becomes a spectacular showcase of creativity, teamwork, and determination. The birds' coordinated attacks on the loggers' machinery demonstrate both their intelligence and their commitment to protecting their habitat. Each species contributes according to their natural abilities, creating a symphony of resistance that overwhelms the humans who had assumed that wildlife would pose no significant threat to their operation. Nigel's final attempt at revenge occurs amidst the chaos of the environmental battle, creating a multi-layered climax that resolves both the personal vendetta and the larger conflict simultaneously. His confrontation with Blue takes place against the backdrop of burning forest and mechanical destruction, emphasizing how personal conflicts can become secondary to larger existential threats. The fight between the two birds represents not just individual animosity, but competing philosophies about power, revenge, and the importance of protecting what we love. The resolution of Nigel's story arc provides both justice and unexpected comedy when Gabby's attempt to help him results in his accidental poison. The revelation that Gabby is actually a harmless tree frog rather than a deadly poison dart frog adds a layer of ironic humor to the conclusion, while also providing a happy ending for the love-struck amphibian. Nigel's fate, while not fatal, ensures that he will no longer pose a threat to Blue and his family, allowing them to move forward without fear of future revenge attempts. The defeat of the logging operation represents a victory for environmental conservation, but the film avoids suggesting that such victories are easily achieved or permanent. The complex reality of environmental protection requires ongoing vigilance and effort from multiple stakeholders, including scientists, government officials, local communities, and concerned citizens. The bird's success in this instance serves as inspiration for continued resistance to environmental destruction rather than a definitive solution to broader problems. Linda and Tulio's rescue and their successful establishment of the rainforest area as a protected conservation zone provides hope for the future of the Spix's macaw population and the broader ecosystem. Their scientific documentation of the area's biodiversity and the threats it faces creates a foundation for long-term protection efforts. The cooperation between human conservationists and the bird communities they are trying to protect demonstrates the kind of partnership necessary for successful environmental protection. Eduardo's transformation throughout the story culminates in his acceptance of Blue as a worthy member of his recognition that leadership can take many forms and that different types of strength are valuable in different situations represents personal growth that mirrors the film's broader themes about diversity and acceptance. His pride in Blue's contributions to their victory over the loggers shows how prejudices can be overcome when individuals prove their worth through actions rather than conformity to expectations. The film's resolution addresses the central question of where Blue and his family belong by offering a compromise that honors both their urban roots and their wild heritage. Their decision to split their time between Rio de Janeiro and the Amazon rainforest reflects the reality that identity and belonging are not necessarily either or proposition. This solution allows them to maintain connections to both communities while ensuring that their children grow up understanding and appreciating both aspects of their heritage. Jules' satisfaction with this arrangement demonstrates her own growth and recognition that love and family are more important than rigid adherence to any single lifestyle or philosophy. Her ability to bridge the gap between her wild upbringing and her domesticated present shows how individuals can honor their past while adapting to their current circumstances. Her relationship with Blue emerges stronger from their Amazon adventure because they have both learned to appreciate and support each other's different strengths and perspectives. The children's enthusiastic embrace of their dual identity reflects the film's optimistic view of younger generations' ability to navigate complex cultural and environmental realities. Carla, Baya, and Tiago have gained valuable experiences and skills from their time in the rainforest, while retaining their connections to urban life and human civilization. Their comfort with moving between these two worlds suggests hope for future generations' ability to find balance between technological advancement and environmental protection. The final musical sequences celebrate both the victory over environmental destruction and the successful resolution of family conflicts. The songs that conclude the film blend Brazilian musical traditions with contemporary styles, reflecting the cultural fusion. These musical moments provide emotional catharsis while also reinforcing the film's themes about the power of community, cooperation, and celebration in overcoming challenges. The film's environmental message resonates throughout the conclusion, without becoming preachy or oversimplified. The complex reality of conservation efforts is acknowledged through the ongoing need for protection and vigilance, while the success achieved by the characters provides hope that positive change is possible when individuals and communities work together toward common goals. The balance between entertainment and education reflects the film's broader success in addressing serious themes through engaging storytelling. Rio 2 succeeds as both a sequel and a standalone story by expanding the world and characters established in the first film, while introducing new challenges and themes that deepen the overall narrative. The journey from Rio de Janeiro to the Amazon rainforest serves as both literal adventure and metaphorical exploration of identity, belonging, and responsibility. The film's celebration of Brazilian culture, music, and natural beauty provides a rich backdrop for character development and thematic exploration. The voice acting throughout the film brings depth and personality to characters who could easily have become stereotypes or caricatures. Each performer contributes unique energy and interpretation that enhances the storytelling while maintaining consistency with the characters established in the previous. The chemistry between voice actors, particularly in family relationships and romantic partnerships, creates believable emotional connections that ground the fantastical elements in genuine human experiences. The animation quality represents a significant achievement in bringing the diverse ecosystems of Brazil to life, with stunning detail and vibrant color. Every frame showcases the incredible biodiversity of the Amazon rainforest, while also capturing the energy and movement that characterizes the story's many action sequences and musical numbers. The visual spectacle supports, rather than overwhelms, the storytelling, creating an immersive experience that enhances rather than distracts from character development and thematic content. The film's pacing successfully balances action, comedy, drama, and musical sequences without allowing any single element to dominate the overall experience. The structure provides appropriate build-up to major plot points, while maintaining momentum through smaller character moments and comedic interludes. The integration of various subplots and character arcs creates a complex but coherent narrative that rewards attention while remaining accessible to a younger viewer. The cultural authenticity of the film's portrayal of Brazilian music, customs, and environmental issues reflects careful research and respect for the source material. While certain elements are necessarily simplified or exaggerated for a dramatic effect, the overall representation honors the cultural richness and environmental significance of the regions depicted. This authenticity enhances the film's educational value while also making it more engaging. The sequel successfully builds upon the foundation established by the first film while expanding the scope and deepening the themes in meaningful ways. The progression from urban to wilderness settings allows for exploration of new types of conflicts and challenges, while maintaining continuity with established characters and relationships. The addition of new characters enhances rather than clutters the story, providing fresh perspectives and dynamics. The film's treatment of family relationships reflects realistic complexity while maintaining appropriate content for younger audiences. The tensions between parents and children, spouses, and extended family members are portrayed with nuance that acknowledges real emotions and conflicts without becoming overly dramatic or inappropriate. The environmental themes integrated throughout the story reflect contemporary concerns about habitat destruction, species extinction, and the conflict between economic development and conservation. While the film simplifies these complex issues for dramatic purposes, it succeeds in raising awareness and encouraging viewers to think about their own relationship with the natural world. The positive resolution provides hope, while acknowledging that environmental protection requires ongoing effort. The musical elements of the film serve multiple functions beyond pure entertainment. advancing plot, developing characters, and celebrating cultural traditions. The songs range from intimate ballads that explore personal relationships to elaborate production numbers that showcase community and celebration. The variety of musical styles reflects the diversity of Brazilian musical traditions, while also appealing to international. The comedy throughout the film operates on multiple levels, providing physical humor for younger viewers, while including wordplay and situational comedy that appeals to adults. The humor emerges naturally from character interactions and plot developments, rather than feeling forced or inserted for its own sake. The balance between comedy and more serious themes prevents the film from becoming audience. The action sequences demonstrate creativity in adapting aerial choreography and bird flight patterns into exciting and visually spectacular set pieces. The soccer match between macaw species provides a unique blend of sports action and cultural celebration, while the final battle against the loggers combines environmental activism with adventure storytelling. The film's resolution provides satisfying closure to the various plot threads while leaving room for potential future stories. The characters' growth and development throughout the adventure creates a sense of completion and achievement, while the ongoing nature of environmental and family challenges suggests that their story could continue in meaningful directions. This balance between resolution and possibility reflects skilled storytelling that respects both the current narrative and potential future development. The technical achievement represented by the film's production demonstrates the continued evolution of computer animation as a medium for sophisticated storytelling. The seamless integration of character animation, environmental detail, and special effects creates a believable world that supports the story's emotional and thematic content. The attention to detail in everything from individual feather movements to massive aerial formations showcases the dedication of the production team. The film's educational value extends beyond environmental awareness to include lessons about cultural diversity, family relationships, personal growth, and community cooperation. These themes are woven throughout the entertainment elements in ways that feel natural rather than didactic, allowing viewers to absorb important messages while enjoying an engaging story. Rio 2 ultimately succeeds as both entertainment and meaningful storytelling by creating a rich, complex world populated by memorable characters facing realistic challenges and achieving growth through their experiences. The film's celebration of Brazilian culture, commitment to environmental themes, and exploration of family dynamics combine to create a viewing experience that satisfies on multiple levels while providing lasting value for audiences of all ages. The journey from the urban sophistication of Rio de Janeiro to the primitive beauty of the Amazon rainforest serves as an effective metaphor for the character's internal journey from comfort to challenge, from safety to adventure, and from self-doubt to self-discovery. This physical and emotional journey creates a narrative arc that provides both excitement and meaningful character development, ensuring that the spectacular visuals and catchy music support rather than substitute for substantive storytelling. The film's portrayal of the conflict between modernization and tradition reflects broader cultural tensions that exist throughout the developing world. The resolution that allows characters to embrace both their technological present and their natural heritage suggests that progress and preservation need not be mutually exclusive, offering hope for societies grappling with similar challenges in their own development. The success of the various relationships portrayed in the film stems from the realistic portrayal of how love, respect, and understanding can overcome differences in background, personality. Whether examining the romantic relationship between Blue and Jewel, the generational differences between Eduardo and his daughter, or the friendships that develop across species lines, the film demonstrates that meaningful connections require effort, compromise, and genuine care for others' well-being. The environmental message of the film gains power from its integration into a personal story that audiences can relate to on an emotional level. Rather than presenting abstract arguments about conservation, the film shows how environmental destruction directly threatens characters that viewers have come to care about. This personal approach to environmental advocacy makes the message more compelling and memorable than purely intellectual appeals might achieve. The film's technical and artistic achievements in animation, voice acting, music, and storytelling combine to create a cohesive work that succeeds. The attention to detail in every aspect of production reflects the dedication of everyone involved to creating something special that would honor the cultural traditions it celebrates while telling a story that resonates with international audiences. Rio 2 stands as a worthy successor to its predecessor and a significant achievement in animated family entertainment. Its combination of spectacular visuals, memorable music, engaging characters, and meaningful themes creates a viewing experience that satisfies immediate entertainment needs while providing lasting value through its educational and inspirational content. The film's success in balancing these various elements demonstrates the potential for animated cinema to address serious themes through engaging storytelling that appeals to viewers. The legacy of Rio 2 extends far beyond its immediate entertainment value, establishing itself as a significant entry in the canon of animated films that successfully blend cultural celebration with environmental advocacy. The production process behind the film involved extensive collaboration with Brazilian cultural consultants, environmental scientists, and ornithologists to ensure that both the cultural representations and the scientific aspects of bird behavior and rainforest ecosystems maintained authenticity while serving the dramatic needs of the story. The character design philosophy embraced throughout the film reflects a careful balance between anthropomorphic qualities that allow for emotional connection and realistic bird characteristics that honor the actual species being portrayed. Each character's visual design communicates personality traits and background information that supports their role in the narrative, from Eduardo's weathered appearance, suggesting years of wilderness survival, to Roberto's sleek athleticism. The film's approach to depicting Brazilian Portuguese language and cultural expressions demonstrates respect for linguistic diversity, while maintaining accessibility for international audiences. The integration of Portuguese phrases, Brazilian slang, and cultural references creates an authentic atmosphere without alienating viewers who might not be familiar with these elements. This linguistic authenticity enhances the cultural immersion while supporting the film's educational goal. The soundtrack composition incorporates traditional Brazilian instruments and musical structures, alongside contemporary orchestration techniques, creating a sonic landscape that feels both authentically Brazilian and cinematically engaging. The use of cuica drums, marimbos, cavaquinhos, and other traditional instruments provides rhythmic foundations that connect the film's musical numbers to their cultural roots, while supporting the emotional and narrative functions of each song. The ecological accuracy maintained throughout the film's portrayal of Amazon rainforest biodiversity reflects extensive research into the complex relationships that exist within these. The various plant and animal species depicted throughout the story represent actual inhabitants of the regions portrayed, with their behaviors and interactions based on scientific observation of real rainforest communities. This commitment to ecological authenticity enhances the film's educational value while supporting its environmental advocacy message. The character development of the three children throughout their Amazon adventure illustrates different approaches to cultural identity and adaptation that reflect real-world experiences of young people navigating multiple cultural influences. Carla's musical talents allow her to bridge urban and natural environments through the universal language of rhythm and melody. Tiago's physical approach to learning demonstrates how kinesthetic intelligence can facilitate adaptation to new environments and challenges. The portrayal of Rafael, Pedro, and Nico as entertainment industry professionals provides commentary on the commercialization of culture and the ways that artistic traditions can be both preserved and transformed through mass media. Their journey from Rio to the Amazon in search of new talent reflects the ongoing process by which cultural expressions evolve and spread, while their eventual involvement in the environmental conflict demonstrates how artists can use their platforms to support social and environmental causes. The film's treatment of technological dependence through Blue's character arc explores contemporary concerns about the relationship between human convenience and natural. His gradual recognition that technology should supplement rather than replace natural instincts and capabilities provides a nuanced perspective on the role of modern conveniences in daily life. The resolution suggests that the most effective approach involves integrating technological advantages with traditional skills and knowledge. The antagonist, Big Boss, represents more than just individual greed, embodying systemic forces that prioritize short-term profit over long-term environmental systems. His characterization as a purely economic actor who shows no consideration for environmental or social consequences reflects real-world challenges in addressing corporate environmental destruction. The defeat of his operation serves as wish fulfillment while acknowledging that similar conflicts continue to occur throughout the developing world. The relationship dynamics between Jewel and Roberto explore themes of nostalgia, alternate life paths, and the Their easy familiarity and shared memories create tension that goes beyond simple romantic rivalry, touching on deeper questions about identity, belonging, and the roads not taken. The resolution of this subplot reinforces the importance of choosing present commitment over past possibilities, while acknowledging the legitimate appeal of familiar connections. The film's depiction of territorial disputes between bird species, the transformation of potentially violent confrontation into structured competition through the soccer match, provides a model for conflict resolution that emphasizes skill and fair play over raw aggression. This approach to depicting conflict resolution offers positive messaging about alternatives to violence while maintaining dramatic tension. Eduardo's character journey, from rigid traditionalism to acceptance of diversity, illustrates the personal growth that can. His initial prejudice against Blue stems from legitimate concerns about survival and protection, but his inability to recognize alternative forms of strength and value reflects limitations in his worldview. His eventual acceptance of Blue represents not compromise of his values, but expansion of his understanding of what those values can encompass. The environmental destruction depicted throughout the film serves as both plot device and educational tool, showing audiences the immediate and long-term consequences of deforestation and habitat destruction. The visual contrast between pristine rainforest and cleared logging areas provides powerful imagery that communicates environmental messages more effectively. The restoration of damaged areas following the loggers' defeaters Hope Gabi's character development from apparent villain to comic relief provides one of the film's most surprising character arcs, while delivering important messages about assumptions and prejudice. Her genuine affection for Nigel, despite his obvious disregard for her well-being, illustrates the complexity of relationships based on idealization rather than mutual respect. The revelation of her actual harmless nature serves as metaphor for the ways that fear and misinformation can create conflict where none need exist. The integration of carnival preparation throughout the story provides cultural context while advancing multiple plot threads simultaneously. The celebration of carnival with both religious observance and cultural expression demonstrates the multifaceted nature. The connection between carnival and the environmental conflict shows how cultural celebrations can serve as vehicles for social and political commentary while maintaining their entertainment and community-building functions. The film's approach to depicting family meals and food sharing emphasizes the social and cultural significance of communal eating across different species and environments. The contrast between Blue's preference for processed human food and the wild bird's natural foraging reflects broader themes about authenticity, tradition, and adaptation. The gradual expansion of Blue's dietary preferences serves as metaphor for his growing acceptance of wild bird lifestyle and values. The aerial choreography throughout the film showcases the three-dimensional possibilities of animated storytelling, while celebrating the natural grace and each species depicted demonstrates characteristic flight patterns and maneuvers that reflect their actual physical capabilities and behavioral tendencies. The spectacular aerial sequences serve both as entertainment spectacle and educational demonstration of avian biomechanics and behavior. The film's treatment of language barriers and communication challenges reflects real-world issues while maintaining narrative accessibility. The various bird species communicate through combinations of natural vocalizations, learned human speech, and universal gestures that transcend specific language limitations. This multilingual approach to character interaction provides authenticity while supporting themes about the importance of understanding across cultural and linguistic differences. The portrayal of scientific research and conservation work through Linda and Tulio's characters provides their dedication to their work despite personal risks and financial limitations offers inspirational messaging about the importance of scientific inquiry and environmental protection. Their partnership with the bird community illustrates the potential for cooperation between human and animal conservation efforts. The film's exploration of leadership styles through various character examples provides nuanced perspectives on authority, responsibility, and decision-making. Eduardo's traditional authoritarian approach contrasts with Blue's collaborative problem-solving style, while Roberto represents charismatic leadership based on physical prowess and social confidence. The resolution suggests that effective leadership often requires combining different approaches and recognizing the strengths that various individuals bring to collective challenges. The transformation of the Amazon setting from mysterious wilderness to familiar home environment illustrates how The family's gradual adaptation to rainforest life demonstrates human and avian capacity for environmental adjustment while honoring the legitimate challenges involved in such transitions. The ultimate decision to maintain connections to both urban and wild environments reflects contemporary mobility and the possibility of multiple belonging. The film's treatment of extinction and species preservation addresses one of the most pressing contemporary environmental issues through personal story. The discovery of surviving Spix's macaws provides hope while acknowledging the precarious status of endangered species worldwide. The emphasis on habitat protection, rather than just captive breeding, reflects current understanding of conservation science and the importance of ecosystem preservation. The musical evolution of characters throughout the story demonstrates how artistic expression can facilitate personal growth and cultural connection. Carla's development as a musician parallels her growing understanding of her heritage and identity, while the various ensemble numbers show how music can build community and express collective values. The integration of different musical styles throughout the film celebrates cultural diversity while maintaining musical coherence. The film's approach to depicting violence and conflict maintains appropriate content for family audiences while acknowledging the reality of natural predation and territorial dispute. The stylized action sequences provide excitement without gratuitous violence, while the resolution of conflicts through cooperation and cleverness, rather than pure aggression, offers positive messaging about alternatives to violence. The balance between realism and family-friendly content reflects skilled storytelling that respects audience intelligence while maintaining appropriate boundaries. The portrayal of urban wildlife adaptation through the Rio characters demonstrates the resilience and flexibility of animal species while highlighting the environmental challenges created by human development. The contrast between city bird life and rainforest existence provides educational content about habitat requirements and species adaptation. The successful integration of both environments in the resolution suggests possibilities for coexistence. The film's exploration of generational differences through the relationships between parents, children, and grandparents reflects universal family dynamics while addressing specific cultural transmission issues. Eduardo's concerns about his grandchildren's upbringing touch on legitimate questions about cultural preservation and identity formation in globalized contexts. The resolution that honors both traditional values and contemporary realities provides modeling for families. The technical achievement represented by the film's water and weather effects demonstrates the advancement of computer animation in depicting natural phenomena. The rainfall sequences, river scenes, and atmospheric effects create immersive environmental conditions that support the storytelling while showcasing the beauty and power of natural forces. The character interactions between different animal species throughout the film provide opportunities to explore themes of diversity, cooperation, and mutual respect across difference. The alliances formed between traditional enemies during the environmental crisis demonstrate how external threats can unite previously conflicting groups in common cause. These interspecies relationships serve as metaphors for human cooperation across cultural, ethnic, and national. The film's treatment of memory and nostalgia through Jules' reconnection with her childhood home explores the powerful emotional connections between people and places. Her rediscovery of forgotten skills and relationships illustrates how early experiences can remain dormant, but recoverable under appropriate circumstances. The balance between honoring the past and embracing the present provides guidance for individuals navigating their own. The educational content integrated throughout the adventure includes lessons about rainforest ecology, bird behavior, Brazilian geography, and environmental science that enhance the entertainment value while providing lasting learning opportunities. The accurate portrayal of predator-prey relationships, food webs, and habitat requirements offers genuine educational value that extends beyond the immediate viewing experience. This commitment to educational accuracy reflects the filmmakers' respect for their audience and their responsibility as creators of family content. The resolution of the logging conflict provides closure while acknowledging the ongoing nature of environmental challenges and the need for continued vigilance and effort. The establishment of protected status for the rainforest area represents a significant victory while recognizing. This realistic approach to environmental advocacy avoids oversimplification while maintaining hope and encouraging continued engagement with conservation efforts. Rio 2 ultimately represents a successful fusion of entertainment and education, cultural celebration, and environmental advocacy. spectacular visuals, and meaningful storytelling that creates lasting value for audiences while providing immediate enjoyment and the cultural impact of Rio 2 extends into educational curricula worldwide, with many schools incorporating the film into environmental science and cultural studies programs. Teachers utilize the movie's vivid depictions of rainforest ecosystems to introduce students to concepts of biodiversity, habitat conservation, and the interconnected nature of ecological systems. The film's authentic portrayal of Brazilian culture provides educators with engaging material for discussions about cultural diversity, family traditions, and the importance of preserving indigenous knowledge and practices. The animation studio's research process for creating authentic rainforest environments involved partnerships with leading botanical institutions and field research expeditions to document the intricate details of Amazon plant life. Every tree species, flowering plant, and vine depicted in the film represents actual flora found in the regions portrayed, with careful attention paid to seasonal variations, growth patterns, and ecological relationships. This botanical accuracy serves multiple purposes, providing visual authenticity while educating viewers about the incredible plant diversity that makes rainforest ecosystems so valuable and vulnerable. The sound design throughout the film incorporates actual rainforest ambient recordings, layering authentic bird calls, insect sounds, and weather patterns beneath the musical score and dialogue. This acoustic landscape creates immersive environments that transport viewers into the heart of the Amazon, while providing accurate representations of the complex soundscapes that characterize different times of day and seasonal conditions in tropical rainforests. The integration of these natural sounds with the film's musical elements demonstrates sophisticated audio production techniques that enhance both entertainment value and educational authenticity. Blue's character development throughout the Amazon adventure reflects broader themes about urban versus rural living that resonate with contemporary audiences experiencing similar lifestyle transitions. His struggles with basic survival skills mirror the challenges faced by city dwellers who find themselves in natural environments, while his eventual adaptation demonstrates human capacity for learning and growth when faced with new circumstances. The character's journey provides metaphorical exploration of themes relevant to modern society's relationship with nature and technology. The film's portrayal of illegal logging operations draws from extensive research into actual deforestation practices and their environmental consequences. The machinery, methods, and scale of destruction depicted reflect real-world logging operations that continue to threaten rainforest ecosystems globally. The economic motivations driving these operations, as represented through Big Boss's character, accurately portray the profit-driven thinking that often prioritizes immediate financial gain over long-term environmental sustainability and community well-being. Eduardo's leadership philosophy represents traditional approaches to community protection and resource management that have sustained indigenous populations for centuries. His emphasis on territorial defense, group cohesion, and preservation of traditional knowledge reflects strategies that have proven effective in maintaining cultural identity and survival in challenging environments. The gradual evolution of his perspective throughout the story illustrates how traditional wisdom can be enhanced rather than replaced by incorporating new insights and approaches. The Territorial soccer match sequence incorporates actual Brazilian soccer culture and techniques, with character movements and strategies based on real playing styles and tactical approaches used in professional and amateur soccer throughout Brazil. The transformation of potentially violent territorial conflict into structured athletic competition provides commentary on the civilizing power of sports and games in channeling competitive instincts in constructive activity. This creative resolution demonstrates how cultural institutions can serve conflict resolution functions while maintaining entertainment value. Jewel's internal conflict between her desire for wild freedom and her commitment to family stability reflects contemporary challenges faced by many individuals, balancing personal fulfillment with family responsibilities. Her character explores themes of identity, belonging. The resolution that allows her to embrace both aspects of her identity provides optimistic messaging about the possibility of achieving balance between competing desires and obligations without requiring complete sacrifice of either. The film's approach to depicting predator-prey relationships maintains ecological accuracy while adapting potentially disturbing content for family audiences. The various threats faced by the macaw characters reflect real dangers that wild birds encounter, from aerial predators to ground-based hunters, while the strategies used to avoid or escape these threats demonstrate actual defensive behaviors observed in wild bird populations. This balance between realism and appropriateness provides educational value while maintaining engaging storytelling. Roberto's character serves multiple narrative functions beyond simple romantic rivalry, representing the path that Jewel might have followed if circumstances had been different. His easy confidence and natural abilities in wild bird skills create meaningful contrast with Blue's domesticated background, while avoiding simple good versus bad characterizations. The resolution of his relationship with Jewel demonstrates mature approaches to handling romantic history within committed partnerships. The environmental themes woven throughout the narrative reflect current scientific understanding of rainforest ecology and the cascading effects of habitat destruction. The film accurately portrays how deforestation affects not just individual species, but entire ecosystem networks, disrupting food chains, altering weather patterns, and reducing biodiversity in ways that can have global consequences. This scientifically grounded approach to environmental advocacy enhances the credibility of the film's conservation message while providing educational content. The character of Gabai represents one of the film's most complex creations, combining apparent menace with underlying vulnerability in ways that challenge audience assumptions about danger and threat. Her expertise with toxins and poisons reflects actual knowledge about rainforest biochemistry, while her misguided devotion to Nigel illustrates psychological dynamics that can lead individuals to support harmful causes or relationships. The revelation of her true, harmless nature provides both comic relief and commentary on the power of misinformation and fear. The musical arrangements throughout the film blend traditional Brazilian rhythms and instruments with contemporary production techniques, creating soundscapes that feel both authentically cultural and cinematically engaging. The orchestration incorporates elements from samba, bossa nova, forró, and other Brazilian musical traditions, while adapting these styles for dramatic and emotional functions within the narratives. This musical fusion demonstrates respect for cultural traditions while creating accessible entertainment for international audiences. The film's treatment of family dynamics across 3 generations provides nuanced exploration of how cultural values and traditions are transmitted, modified, and preserved over time. Eduardo's relationship with his daughter, Jewel, reflects the challenges faced by immigrant families and others who must navigate between. The grandchildren's experiences illustrate how younger generations can serve as bridges between different cultural worlds while maintaining respect for their heritage. The aerial cinematography throughout the film showcases the 3-dimensional possibilities of animated storytelling while providing spectacular views of Brazilian landscapes and ecosystems. The camera movements and angles capture the sensation of flight while revealing the geographic diversity and natural beauty. These visual sequences serve both as entertainment spectacle and educational geography, introducing audiences to the varied terrain and climate zones that make Brazil one of the world's most biodiverse countries. The film's approach to depicting scientific research through Linda and Tulio's work provides accurate representation of field biology and conservation science. Their research methods, equipment, and documentation techniques reflect actual practices used by ornithologists and conservation biologists working in remote locations. Their dedication to their research, despite personal hardships and financial limitations, offers inspirational messaging about careers in environmental science while demonstrating the practical challenges faced by conservation professionals. The character development of the 3 children throughout their Amazon experience illustrates different learning styles and adaptation strategies that reflect real-world diversity in how individuals approach new environments and challenges. Carla's musical approach to understanding her environment demonstrates how artistic talents can facilitate cultural connection and personal growth. Bia's scientific curiosity provides models for intellectual engagement with natural systems, while Tiago's physical approach shows how kinesthetic learning can support adaptation and skill development. The film's portrayal of community cooperation during the environmental crisis demonstrates how external threats can unite previously competing groups in common cause. The alliance between different bird species reflects actual examples of interspecies cooperation observed in nature during periods of environmental stress or external threat. This collaborative response to crisis provides positive messaging about the potential for cooperation across difference while maintaining biological and behavioral authenticity. The celebration serves as both religious observance and cultural expression, demonstrating the multifaceted nature of Brazilian cultural traditions. The connection between artistic celebration and environmental advocacy shows how cultural events can serve as vehicles for social and political engagement while maintaining their community building and entertainment functions. The film's treatment of technological dependence through Blue's character explores contemporary concerns. His initial reliance on GPS devices, maps, and other technological aids reflects modern society's increasing dependence on external systems for navigation, communication, and problem-solving. The gradual development of his natural abilities demonstrates how individuals can reclaim innate capabilities while still benefiting from technological advantages when appropriate. The environmental education embedded throughout the adventure includes accurate information about rainforest climate, seasonal patterns, and ecological relationships that enhance entertainment value while providing lasting learning opportunities. The film depicts actual weather phenomena, including tropical rainfall patterns and temperature variations that characterize different rainforest microenvironments. This meteorological accuracy supports the character interactions between domesticated and wild birds throughout the story explore themes of cultural assimilation, identity preservation, and the challenge of maintaining authentic connections to heritage while adapting to contemporary circumstances. These relationships provide metaphorical exploration of issues relevant to immigrant communities, displaced populations, and others navigating between different cultural worlds. The resolution suggests that identity can be fluid and multifaceted rather than requiring rigid adherence to single cultural models. The film's approach to depicting economic versus environmental priorities through the logging conflict reflects real-world tensions between development and conservation that affect communities worldwide. The portrayal of these competing interests avoids oversimplification while clearly establishing the environmental and social. The resolution provides hope while acknowledging the ongoing nature of these conflicts and the need for continued advocacy and protection efforts. The animation techniques used to create realistic bird flight and movement represent significant technical achievements in computer animation. The attention to wing mechanics, air current interactions, and species-specific flight patterns demonstrates commitment to biological accuracy while creating visually spectacular action sequences. These technical elements serve educational functions by accurately depicting avian biomechanics while providing entertainment through dynamic aerial choreography and movement. The film's exploration of leadership styles through various character examples provides nuanced perspectives on authority, decision-making, and community organization. Eduardo's traditional hierarchical approach with Blue's collaborative problem-solving methods, while the story suggests that effective leadership often requires combining different approaches and recognizing diverse forms of strength and capability within communities. The portrayal of memory and nostalgia through Jules' reconnection with her childhood environment explores the powerful emotional connections between individuals and places. Her rediscovery of forgotten skills, relationships, and cultural practices illustrates how our early experiences can. This theme resonates with audiences who have experienced displacement, migration, or cultural transition while providing optimistic messaging about the possibility of reconnecting with heritage and tradition. The film's treatment of extinction and species preservation addresses temporary conservation. The emphasis on habitat protection rather than just captive breeding reflects current conservation science, understanding about the importance of preserving entire ecosystems rather than focusing solely on individual species. The educational content woven throughout the narrative includes information about rainforest food webs, predator-prey relationships, and ecological interdependence that enhances entertainment while providing the accurate portrayal of how different species interact within complex ecological networks demonstrates the interconnected nature of natural systems. This scientific accuracy supports the film's environmental advocacy message while respecting audience intelligence and providing lasting educational value. The resolution of various character conflicts throughout the story demonstrates mature approaches to problem-solving that emphasize communication, understanding. The successful navigation of family tensions, romantic complications, and intergenerational differences provides positive modeling for audiences facing similar challenges in their own relationships. These conflict resolution strategies offer practical insights while maintaining narrative coherence and entertainment value. The film's celebration of Brazilian cultural traditions extends beyond music and dance to include cuisine. The authentic representation of these cultural elements demonstrates respect for Brazilian heritage, while making these traditions accessible to international audiences. This cultural authenticity enhances the educational mission while supporting the film's themes about the importance of preserving and celebrating cultural diversity. The technical achievement represented by the film's environmental effects, including weather patterns, lighting conditions, and atmosphere. The accurate depiction of how light filters through forest canopies, how rainfall affects visibility and movement, and how temperature and humidity influence character behavior provides educational content while enhancing visual storytelling. These environmental details support both the entertainment and educational missions of the film. Rio 2 ultimately succeeds in creating a comprehensive entertainment that educates. The film's multi-layered approach to storytelling provides immediate entertainment value while offering lasting educational and inspirational content that extends far beyond the viewing experience itself. Detailed scene analysis, the opening New Year's celebration scene, establishes the film's core themes through visual storytelling. The fireworks bursting over Rio de Janeiro create a spectacular backdrop, while the somber rhythms immediately immerse view. Blue's awkward dance moves contrasted with Jewel's natural grace foreshadow their upcoming conflict about identity and belonging. The children's enthusiastic participation shows their comfort in urban life, while Jewel's distant gaze toward the horizon hints at her growing restlessness. The discovery scene with Linda and Tulio's televised announcement serves as the narrative catalyst. The extreme close-up on the single blue feather creates emotional weight, symbolizing hope and possibility. Jewel's immediate physical reaction, her wings spreading instinctively, demonstrates her deep connection to her wild heritage. Blue's defensive body language and nervous fidgeting reveal his anxiety about leaving their safe environment. The departure sequence showcases masterful visual storytelling through aerial cinema. The camera follows the family's flight path from the familiar urban landscape of Rio through Brazil's diverse geography. The gradual transition from concrete buildings to green countryside to dense rainforest canopy mirrors the character's emotional journey from comfort to uncertainty. Each landscape change represents another step away from Blue's comfort zone. The first encounter with Eduardo demonstrates character revelation through physics. Eduardo's imposing presence is established through low-angle shots that emphasize his size and authority. His weathered appearance tells the story of years surviving in the wild. Blue appears diminished in comparison, his domesticated appearance highlighted by his fanny pack and nervous mannerisms. The emotional reunion between Jewel and her father uses close-ups to capture years of separation, dissolving in tears of joy. Roberto's introduction scene creates immediate tension through staging and movement. His graceful aerial maneuvers showcase natural athleticism while Blue struggles with basic flight patterns. The scene positions Roberto and Jewel together in the frame, while isolating Blue, visually representing his outsider status. Their shared memories are depicted through warm, golden flashbacks that contrast with the cooler tones surrounding Blue's present. The soccer match sequence transforms potential violence into cultural celebration. The field setup mirrors an actual Brazilian soccer stadium, complete with enthusiastic spectators from various bird species. The match choreography incorporates authentic soccer techniques while adapting them for aerial play. Blue's accidental own goal is staged for maximum comedic and dramatic impact, with slow motion emphasizing the moment his good intentions lead to devastating consequences. Nigel's talent show performance scene blends comedy with menace through theatrical staging. His dramatic lighting and costume choices reference classic villain archetypes, while his song lyrics contain barely concealed threats. Gabi's enthusiastic backup vocals add layers of comedy, while advancing their scheme. The audience's positive reaction creates dramatic irony as viewers understand the danger that the characters cannot perceive. The environmental destruction montage uses stark visual contrasts to convey ecological devastation. Pristine rainforest imagery cuts abruptly to scenes of mechanical destruction, with the sound design emphasizing the violence of chainsaws against natural ambient sounds. The sequence builds emotional weight through showing individual trees falling, symbolizing the loss of irreplaceable natural heritage. The final battle sequence demonstrates coordinated action. Each bird species contributes according to their natural abilities, creating a symphony of resistance against the logging machinery. The scene builds tension through escalating confrontations, while maintaining family-friendly content through creative problem-solving rather than violence. Character development discussion. Blue undergoes the most significant transformation throughout the story. Initially defined by his dependence on human technology and comfort with domesticated life, he gradually develops confidence in his natural abilities. His character arc moves from passive anxiety to active heroism as he learns to value his unique perspective, rather than viewing his differences as weaknesses. The turning point comes when he realizes that his technological knowledge can serve conservation, rather than representing rejection of willed birth. Jules' development explores the complexity of cultural identity and family loyalty. Her character must navigate between her love for Blue and her desire to reconnect with her heritage, rather than simply choosing between competing loyalties. She grows to understand that identity can encompass multiple elements. Her evolution demonstrates how individuals can honor their past while embracing their present circumstance. Eduardo represents the challenge of leadership in changing times. His initial rigidity stems from years of protecting his flock through traditional methods that have proven successful. His character growth involves learning to recognize different forms of strength and value. Rather than abandoning his protective instincts, he expands his understanding of what protection means in contemporary context. The three children each represent different approaches to Carla's musical talents allow her to bridge different worlds through universal artistic expression. Gaia's intellectual curiosity helps her understand and appreciate complex systems, whether urban or natural. Tiago's physical approach to learning demonstrates how different personality types can find their place in new environments. Roberto's character avoids simple antagonist roles by representing genuine positive qualities that create legitimate romantic tension. His natural abilities and easy charm make him an appealing alternative, while his respect for Jules' choices prevents him from becoming a villain. His development shows how characters can maintain dignity while accepting disappointment. Nigel's character evolution from the first film shows how defeat can transform but not necessarily redeem villains. His loss of flight has intensified rather than diminished his desire for revenge. His theatrical approach to villainy provides entertainment while maintaining genuine menace. The character demonstrates how intelligence and creativity can serve destructive purposes when motivated by hatred. Gabi's character development subverts audience expectations through her genuine affection for Nigel despite his obvious flaws. Her expertise with toxins contrasts with her emotional vulnerability, creating a complex character who is simultaneously frightening and sympathetic. The revelation of her harmless nature provides both comedy and commentary on assumptions and misinformation. Thematic exploration, identity, and belonging form the central thematic framework. The film explores how individuals navigate multiple cultural influences while maintaining authentic connections to their heritage. Blue's journey demonstrates that belonging is not about conforming to predetermined expectations, but about finding ways to contribute meaningfully to communities that matter. Environmental stewardship permeates the narrative without becoming preachy. The film presents conservation as both personal and political, showing how individual choices and community actions can address systemic environmental threats. The successful defeat of the logging operation provides hope while acknowledging the ongoing nature of environmental challenges. Family dynamics across generations reveal how cultural values are transmitted, modified, and preserved over time. Eduardo's relationship with Jules explores the tension between protective instincts and allowing grown children to make their own choices. The grandchildren represent hope for cultural continuity while adapting to contemporary circumstances. The nature versus nurture theme manifests through various character relationships. The film suggests that both genetic heritage and environmental influences shape individual development, while emphasizing that personal choice ultimately Characters succeed when they integrate rather than reject aspects of their background. Cultural preservation and adaptation emerge through the portrayal of Brazilian traditions and environmental knowledge. The film celebrates cultural richness while showing how traditions can evolve without losing their essential character. Music, dance, and storytelling serve as vehicles for cultural transmission and community building. The film presents leadership as service rather than dominance, emphasizing how effective leaders recognize and utilize diverse talents within their communities. Cultural and environmental aspects. The film's portrayal of Brazilian culture demonstrates extensive research and respectful representation. Musical elements incorporate authentic rhythms, instruments, and vocal styles from various Brazilian traditions, including samba, bossa nova, and regional folk music. The integration of Portuguese language phrases and Brazilian expressions adds authenticity without alienating international audiences. Religious and spiritual elements appear through subtle references to Brazilian folk traditions and indigenous beliefs about the relationship between humans and nature. The reverence shown for natural spaces reflects spiritual connections that characterize many Brazilian communities. Environmental education appears throughout the narrative through accurate depictions of rainforest ecology, species relationships, and habitat requirements. The film portrays actual threats facing Amazon ecosystems, including deforestation, habitat fragmentation, and species extinction. Scientific accuracy enhances educational value while supporting the entertainment mission. Conservation messaging emphasizes habitat protection. The collaborative approach to addressing environmental threats demonstrates how effective conservation requires cooperation between different stakeholders and communities. Economic aspects of environmental destruction are portrayed through the logging operations, showing how profit motives can drive ecological damage. The film presents these conflicts without oversimplification, acknowledging the economic pressures that make conservation challenging, while clearly establishing cultural diversity within Brazil appears through the variety of musical styles, regional differences in customs and traditions, and the multicultural nature of Brazilian society. The film celebrates this diversity while maintaining narrative coherence and avoiding stereotypical representations. Animation techniques. Character animation demonstrates sophisticated understanding of avian biomechanics and behavior patterns. Each bird species moves according to their actual physical capabilities, with flight patterns, landing techniques, and social behaviors reflecting accurate observations of wild bird populations. This biological accuracy enhances both entertainment value and educational content. Environmental rendering showcases technical achievements in depicting natural phenomena, including weather patterns, lighting conditions, and atmospheric effects. The accurate portrayal of how light filters through forest canopies, how rainfall affects visibility, and how different times of day alter the appearance of natural environments creates immersive experiences that support storytelling. Facial animation captures emotional nuance through subtle movements of eyes, beaks, and feather positions that communicate character feelings without relying solely on dialogue. The animators develop sophisticated techniques for expressing emotion through avian features while maintaining biological believability. Action sequence choreography transforms potentially chaotic scenes into coherent visual narratives through careful staging and camera movement. The aerial battles and chase sequences maintain spatial coherence while providing spectacular entertainment through dynamic movement and creative staging. Crowd animation during musical numbers and community scenes demonstrates technical prowess in managing multiple character interactions while maintaining individual personality and avoiding repetitive movements. Each background character maintains distinct animation patterns that contribute to overall scene authenticity. Water and weather effects create realistic environmental conditions that affect character movement and behavior. Rain sequences show how weather influences flight patterns and social interactions, while river scenes demonstrate the technical challenges of animating water in ways that look both spectacular and believable. The integration of traditional animation principles with computer technology creates character movements that feel both natural and entertaining, avoiding the uncanny valley while maintaining the exaggerated expressiveness that characterizes effective animated storytelling. The production team collaborated with Brazilian cultural institutions to ensure accurate representation of regional variations in building styles, street layouts, and urban planning. The contrast between Rio's modern cityscape and the Amazon's organic forms required developing two distinct visual languages that could coexist within the same narrative framework. The warm golds and oranges of Rio's urban scenes contrast with the deep greens and blues of the rainforest, creating visual metaphors for the characters' emotional journeys. Seasonal lighting changes throughout the Amazon sequences demonstrate how environmental conditions affect mood and atmosphere in tropical ecosystems. Character costume and accessory design extends beyond Blue's iconic fanny pack to include culturally authentic elements worn by human characters and decorative features on various bird species. The design team researched actual bird plumage variations, seasonal changes, and regional differences to create authentic visual representations that support the scientific accuracy of species portrayals. Set design for the hidden macaw community reflects indigenous architectural principles while adapting them for avian inhabitants. The tree-dwelling structures incorporate actual construction techniques used by traditional Amazonian communities, scaled and modified for bird anatomy. These architectural details provide educational content about sustainable building practices while creating visually interesting environments for character interactions, sound design, and musical composition. The layered approach to ambient sound design creates authentic rainforest soundscapes through recordings made during actual Amazon expeditions. Dawn and dusk sequences feature accurate representations of how animal activity patterns change throughout the day, with different species becoming active at specific times. Night scenes incorporate the complex acoustic environment of nocturnal rainforest life, including insect choruses, nocturnal bird calls, and the sounds of unseen mammals. Musical instrument selection for the orchestral score incorporates traditional Brazilian instruments that may be unfamiliar to international audiences. The barimbao's distinctive metallic tone appears during moments of tension or mysticism, while the cavaquinho provides rhythmic foundation for celebration scenes. The cuica drum's unique sliding pitch effect creates comedic moments while maintaining cultural authenticity. Vocal arrangement techniques blend different singing styles to represent the diverse musical traditions found throughout Brazil. Samba vocals contrast with bossa nova styling, while regional folk traditions appear during scenes set in rural or indigenous contexts. The multilingual approach includes Portuguese, English, and invented bird languages that maintain consistency with established character voices. Dialogue mixing addresses the challenge of maintaining clarity during musical numbers, while preserving the energy and spontaneity of group singing. The technical achievement of balancing dozens of individual vocal tracks during ensemble pieces required innovative recording and mixing techniques that push the boundaries of animated film sound production. Technical innovation and digital artistry feather rendering technology represents a significant advancement in depicting realistic bird plumage that responds naturally to air currents, moisture, and physical contact. Each character's feathers demonstrate species-specific characteristics, including texture, color gradation, and movement patterns. The technical challenge of animating thousands of individual feathers while maintaining performance requirements pushed the development of new rendering algorithms. Particle system development for environmental effects creates realistic representations of rain, mist, pollen, and other atmospheric phenomena common in tropical environments. These effects respond naturally to wind patterns and character movement while avoiding the computational overhead that could slow animation production. The integration of particle systems with character animation creates immersive environmental conditions. Crowd simulation software manages the complex interactions between hundreds of background characters during large-scale scenes without requiring individual animation for each character. The system generates natural movement patterns and behavioral responses while maintaining the individual personality traits that prevent background characters from appearing generic or repetitive. Camera technology adaptation allows for dynamic aerial cinematography that captures the sensation of flight while maintaining visual clarity and spatial orientation. The development of virtual camera systems that could simulate realistic bird curriculum development partnerships with educational institutions have created lesson plans that use Rio 2 as a foundation for teaching environmental science, cultural studies, and language arts. These materials connect the film's themes to academic standards, while providing engaging multimedia content that enhances traditional educational approaches. Scientific accuracy verification involved collaboration with ornithologists, ecologists, and conservation biologists who reviewed character behaviors, ecological relationships, and environmental depictions for factual accuracy. This scientific oversight ensures that the educational content meets academic standards while maintaining entertainment value. Language learning applications utilize the film's multilingual elements to create interactive. The authentic pronunciation and cultural context provided by native Brazilian voice actors creates valuable resources for language learners at various skill levels. Geography education benefits from the film's accurate portrayal of Brazilian landscapes, climate zones, and regional characteristics. The visual journey from coastal Rio to interior rainforest provides comprehensive geographic education that textbooks alone cannot achieve. Marketing and cultural impact. International distribution strategies address the challenge of maintaining cultural authenticity while ensuring accessibility for global audiences. Different regional versions include varying levels of Portuguese language content and cultural explanation to accommodate different audience familiarity with Brazilian culture. Products include field guides to rainforest species, musical instruments used in Brazilian traditions, and interactive games that teach conservation principles. Tourism industry partnerships promote responsible ecotourism that supports conservation efforts while providing economic benefits to local communities. The film's popularity has increased interest in visiting Brazilian rainforest areas, creating opportunities for sustainable tourism development. Conservation organization collaborations use the film's popularity to raise awareness and funds for actual rainforest protection efforts. These partnerships demonstrate how entertainment media can serve as effective tools for environmental advocacy and community organizing. Psychological and social themes, identity. Psychological and social themes, identity formation, in multicultural contexts, appears through characters navigating between different cultural expectations. The film explores how individuals can maintain authentic connections to multiple cultural traditions without compromising their personal integrity or family relationships. Intergenerational conflict resolution demonstrates how different generations can bridge gaps in values and perspectives through mutual respect and open communication. Eduardo's journey from rigid traditionalism to accepting diverse community building across difference showcases how shared challenges can unite previously competing groups in common cause. The alliance between different bird species during the environmental crisis provides metaphorical exploration of coalition building and cooperative problem solving. Self-acceptance and personal growth themes develop through characters learning to value their unique qualities, rather than attempting to conform to external expectations. Blue's transformation from anxiety about his differences to appreciation of his distinctive strengths provides positive messaging about individual worth and contribution. Technical legacy and industry influence. Animation industry standards were advanced through the technical innovations developed for the film's production, particularly in areas of feather rendering, crowd simulation, and environmental effects. These technological developments have influenced subsequent anime productions and continue to evolve in current. Collaborative production techniques demonstrated effective international cooperation between animation studios, cultural consultants, and educational institutions. The model established by Rio 2's production process has been adopted by other projects seeking to achieve cultural authenticity and educational value. Environmental advocacy through entertainment media has been enhanced by the film's success in combining conservation messaging with popular entertainment. The approach demonstrates how animated films can address serious environmental issues without sacrificing entertainment value or audience appeal. Cultural representation standards in animated media have been influenced by the film's commitment to authentic portrayal of Brazilian culture and environment. The research methodology and consultation processes developed for the production provide models for respectful cultural representation. The character psychology underlying Rio 2 extends far beyond surface-level personality traits into complex emotional and behavioral patterns that reflect real psychological development theories. Blue's anxiety disorder manifests through his obsessive preparation rituals and dependence on technological safety nets, representing common responses to childhood trauma and displacement. His journey towards self-acceptance demonstrates therapeutic progression as he learns to manage anxiety. Jules' internal conflict between individual desires and family obligations reflects contemporary psychological research on identity development in adults who must balance personal fulfillment with caregiving responsibilities. Her emotional connection to her childhood environment triggers powerful neurological responses associated with autobiographical memory and cultural identity formation. Eduardo's authoritarian leadership style stems from years of survival-focused decision-making where quick, decisive action often meant the difference between life and death for his community. His psychological development throughout the story shows how rigid thinking patterns developed under extreme stress can evolve when environmental pressures change. His acceptance of Blue represents cognitive flexibility and the ability to update beliefs based on no. The children's adaptation strategies reflect different temperament types and learning styles that psychological research has identified in child development studies. Carla's musical intelligence allows her to process environmental and cultural information through auditory and rhythmic patterns. Baya's analytical approach demonstrates high cognitive ability combined with intrinsic motivation for understanding complex systems. Tiago's kinesthetic learning style and high-energy personality suit him perfectly for the physical demands of rainforest life. Roberto's character represents the psychological concept of the road not taken, embodying the life path that Jewel might have followed under different circumstances. His easy confidence and natural abilities create cognitive dissonance for both Jewel and the audience, forcing examination of choice consequences and alternative possibilities. His graceful acceptance of rejection demonstrates emotional maturity and respect for others' autonomy. Nigel's psychological profile reveals narcissistic personality traits combined with an obsessive desire for revenge that has consumed his identity since his defeat in the first film. His inability to accept responsibility for his past actions and his elaborate schemes for retribution demonstrate how untreated psychological wounds can fester and his theatrical approach to villainy serves as a psychological defense mechanism that allows him to maintain grandiose self-image despite his reduced circumstances. Gabby's character psychology combines genuine affection with unhealthy attachment patterns that border on obsessive behavior. Her expertise with poisons contrasts sharply with her emotional vulnerability, suggesting complex background experiences that shaped her personality. Her unwavering devotion to Nigel, despite his obvious indifference, demonstrates how individuals can become trapped in dysfunctional relationship patterns. The environmental psychology themes explore how different physical environments influence behavior, mood, and identity formation. The contrast between urban and natural settings demonstrates how environmental factors shape psychological development and behavioral patterns. Characters respond. Social psychology elements appear throughout the territorial conflicts and community dynamics among different bird species. The transformation of potentially violent confrontation into structured competition demonstrates how social institutions can channel aggressive impulses into constructive activities. The soccer match serves as metaphor for how civilized societies develop cultural mechanisms for managing conflict. Cognitive dissonance theory applies to several character relationships, particularly Eduardo's struggle to reconcile his protective instincts with evidence that his previous judgments about Blue were incorrect. The psychological discomfort created by conflicting beliefs and observations drives character development, as individuals must either change their beliefs or rationalize contradictory evidence. Attachment theory influences the family dynamics portrayed throughout the story, from the secure attachment between Jewel and her children to the disrupted attachment between Jewel and Eduardo caused by years of separation. The reunion scenes demonstrate how attachment bonds can remain strong despite long periods of separation, while also showing how relationships require active maintenance to remain healthy. The film's exploration of cultural identity formation draws from psychological research on ethnic identity development and acculturation processes. Characters must navigate between different cultural expectations while maintaining psychological coherence and personal authenticity. The successful integration of multiple cultural identities requires psychological flexibility and strong sense of personal values. Behavioral psychology principles. A key part. Blue's gradual improvement in wilderness survival skills demonstrates how behavioral change occurs through repeated exposure and reinforcement. The children's rapid adaptation to rainforest life shows how younger individuals often demonstrate greater behavioral plasticity. The environmental destruction sequences create psychological trauma responses in characters who witness habitat destruction. The emotional impact of seeing familiar landscapes devastated demonstrates. The community response to environmental threats shows how shared trauma can either fragment or unite groups depending on available social support and leadership. Developmental psychology themes appear through the intergenerational relationships and the children's growth throughout their Amazon adventure. Each child demonstrates different aspects of cognitive and emotional development as they encounter new challenges and opportunities. Their varying responses to the same environmental conditions. Positive psychology elements focus on character strengths, resilience, and post-traumatic growth rather than just pathology and dysfunction. Characters who face significant challenges emerge stronger and more capable, demonstrating how adversity can serve as a catalyst for positive development. When adequate support systems exist, the community cooperation during crisis demonstrates how collective efficacy can overcome individual limitations. The musical psychology aspects explore how rhythm, melody, and group singing influence emotional states and social bonding. The various musical numbers serve psychological functions beyond entertainment, creating emotional regulation, cultural identity expression, and community cohesion. The children's musical development demonstrates how artistic expression can facilitate interact with different characters demonstrate varying levels of environmental awareness and adaptation strategies based on their previous experiences and psychological predispositions. The successful characters learn to read environmental cues and adjust their behavior accordingly. The therapeutic journey that several characters undergo demonstrates how psychological healing occurs through supportive relationships, gradual exposure to feared situations, and development of new Blue's transformation from anxious domesticated bird to confident environmental defender illustrates how therapeutic progress requires both internal motivation and external support. Color psychology influences the visual storytelling through strategic use of warm and cool colors to evoke specific emotional responses. The golden tones of Rio create feelings of warmth and safety, while the green and blue palette. Character costume colors reflect personality traits and emotional states throughout their development. The film's approach to depicting cooperation and competition reflects social psychology research on group dynamics and intergroup relations. The initial territorial conflicts between macaw species demonstrate how competition for resources can create hostility, while the eventual alliance shows how memory psychology appears through Jules' rediscovery of childhood experiences and forgotten skills during her return to the rainforest. The emotional power of place-based memories demonstrates how environmental cues can trigger vivid recollections and associated emotional responses. Her reconnection with her father activates attachment memories that had been dormant for years. The leadership psychology portrayed through various characters demonstrates different. Eduardo's traditional hierarchical leadership contrasts with Blue's collaborative approach, while Roberto represents charismatic leadership based on personal appeal and demonstrated competence. The effectiveness of different leadership styles depends on situational factors and follower characteristics. Stress psychology manifests through character responses to environmental pressures and threats. The logging crisis creates acute stress responses that some characters respond with fight reactions while others demonstrate flight responses, illustrating individual differences in stress reactivity and management. The family system psychology examines how family members influence each other's behavior and development through complex interaction patterns. The three-generation family structure creates multiple relationship dynamics that must be balanced and negotiated. Personality psychology emerges through the consistent behavioral patterns that define each character across different situations. Individual differences in extroversion, openness to experience, conscientiousness, and other personality dimensions influence how characters respond to challenges and opportunities. The stability of core personality traits provides character consistency while allowing for growth and development. Characters demonstrate various motivational patterns, including achievement orientation, affiliation needs, and power-seeking behavior. The resolution suggests that intrinsic motivation leads to more sustainable behavioral change than external pressures or rewards. Cross-cultural psychology themes appear through the interactions between characters from different cultural backgrounds and the challenges of intercultural communication. The successful navigation of cultural differences requires psychological flexibility, empathy, and willingness to suspend judgment while learning about unfamiliar customs and values. Health psychology aspects focus on how psychological factors influence physical well-being and adaptation to environmental challenges. Characters who maintain positive attitudes and strong social connections demonstrate better ability to cope with physical stress. The evolutionary psychology perspective examines how inherited behavioral tendencies influence character responses to survival challenges. Natural selection has shaped behavioral patterns that promote survival and reproduction, but these instinctive responses must be modified to fit contemporary circumstances. The balance between inherited tendencies and learned behaviors creates ongoing tension for characters. The multilingual environment creates opportunities for both miscommunication and creative expression as characters navigate between different language systems. Nonverbal communication becomes particularly important when verbal language barriers exist. Developmental trauma psychology appears in characters who have experienced separation, loss, or displacement. The long-term effects of early traumatic experiences influence. The film's portrayal of resilience psychology demonstrates how individuals and communities bounce back from adversity and even experience post-traumatic growth. Characters who face significant challenges develop new strengths and capabilities that they might never have discovered under easier circumstances. The community's response to environmental threats shows collective resilience in action. Educational psychology principles guide how characters learn new skills and adapt to different learning styles require different instructional approaches, and effective teaching must accommodate individual differences in cognitive processing and motivation. The mentoring relationships between experienced and novice characters demonstrate effective educational practices. The therapeutic relationship psychology appears in the supportive connections between family members and friends that facilitate healing and growth. Trust, empathy, and unconditional positive regard create safety. The quality of these relationships often determines the success of therapeutic interventions. Social identity psychology examines how group membership influences individual identity and behavior. Characters must navigate multiple group identities, including family, species, cultural, and environmental affiliations. The successful integration of multiple social identities requires psychological sophistication. The film's approach to depicting change psychology shows how individuals modify long-standing patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior. Successful change requires motivation, opportunity, and support systems that reinforce new behavioral patterns. Relapse prevention strategies help maintain positive changes over time. Despite ongoing challenges and temptations, environmental identity psychology explores how characters who develop strong environmental identities demonstrate greater motivation to protect natural resources and engage in conservation behaviors. The psychological benefits of nature connection include stress reduction, enhanced creativity, and spiritual development. The portrayal of wisdom psychology appears through characters who demonstrate good judgment, emotional regulation, and perspective-taking abilities that come from experience. The intergenerational transmission of wisdom occurs through mentoring relationships and cultural storytelling traditions. The film's treatment of hope psychology demonstrates how positive future expectations influence current behavior and emotional states. Characters who maintain hope despite difficult circumstances show greater resilience and problem-solving abilities. Hope requires both willpower, the motivation, and the means to achieve desired outcomes. Forgiveness psychology appears in the resolution of interpersonal conflicts and the healing of damaged relationships. Forgiveness involves releasing resentment and anger while not necessarily excusing harmful behavior. The psychological benefits of forgiveness include reduced stress, improved relationships, and enhanced emotional well-being for both forgiver and forgiven. The creativity psychology themes explore how artistic expression. Creative activities provide outlets for emotional expression, cultural identity exploration, and collaborative meaning-making. The integration of individual creativity with cultural traditions creates dynamic artistic expressions that honor the past while embracing innovation. The biological accuracy maintained throughout Rio 2 extends into precise anatomical details that reflect actual Spix's macaw physiology and behavior patterns observed in scientific studies of the species. The film's animators consulted with veterinary specialists and avian biologists to ensure that wing movements, landing techniques, and social interactions accurately represent the species' natural capabilities and limitations. This scientific foundation enhances educational value while creating more believable character animations that respect the actual birds being portrayed. The sociolinguistic elements woven throughout the dialogue demonstrate language. Different bird characters exhibit speech patterns that correspond to their backgrounds, with wild birds using more direct communication styles, while domesticated characters employ more complex linguistic structures influenced by human interaction. The code switching between Portuguese and English reflects actual multilingual communities in Brazil, where speakers navigate between languages based on social context and audio. Economic anthropology themes emerge through the portrayal of resource distribution, territorial control, and community organization within bird societies. The film accurately depicts how animal communities must manage limited resources while maintaining social cohesion and defending against external threats. The territorial disputes between macaw species reflect actual ecological competition, while serving as metaphor for human conflicts. The ethnomusicology research underlying the film's musical authenticity involved collaboration with Brazilian music scholars and traditional musicians who provided expertise on regional musical variations, historical development of different styles, and proper performance techniques. Each musical number incorporates authentic rhythmic patterns, harmonic structures, and instrumental arrangements that reflect specific Brazilian musical traditions, while adapting. Nutritional ecology concepts appear through accurate depictions of rainforest food webs, seasonal availability of different food sources, and the foraging behaviors exhibited by various species. The film shows how different bird species have evolved specialized feeding strategies that minimize competition while maximizing nutritional intake. These ecological relationships demonstrate the complexity of natural systems and the importance of biodiversity for ecosystems. The pharmaceutical ethnobotany aspects reflected in Gabi's character draw from actual research on rainforest plants and animals that produce toxic compounds for defense or predation. The biodiversity of chemical compounds found in tropical ecosystems represents a vast pharmaceutical resource that remains largely unexplored by modern medicine. The film's portrayal of this biological chemistry provides educational content about the potential medical value. Climatology accuracy appears through realistic depictions of tropical weather patterns, seasonal variations, and the microclimate differences that exist within rainforest ecosystems. The film shows how factors like elevation, canopy cover, and proximity to water sources create diverse environmental conditions within relatively small geographic areas. These climatic variations influence species distribution. The archaeological implications of discovering hidden animal communities reflect actual scientific experiences in remote tropical regions where new species and populations continue to be discovered. The film's portrayal of scientific fieldwork demonstrates the excitement and challenges of biological exploration, while highlighting the race against time to document biodiversity before habitat destruction makes such discoveries impossible. Cognitive ethology research informs the portrayal of animal intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and social learning throughout the film. Different species demonstrate cognitive capabilities that reflect actual scientific understanding of avian intelligence, including tool use, spatial navigation, and social coordination. The complexity of animal cognition depicted challenges common assumptions about the intellectual capabilities of non-human species. The conservation biology principles underlying the environmental themes reflect current scientific understanding of ecosystem management, habitat fragmentation effects, and population viability requirements for endangered species. The film accurately portrays how isolated populations face genetic bottlenecks and reduced resilience face genetic bottlenecks. The emphasis on habitat protection over captive breeding. Acoustic ecology concepts appear through the accurate representation of soundscapes and how different species use acoustic communication within complex auditory environments. The film shows how birds must adapt their vocalizations to compete with background noise from other species, environmental sounds, and human activities. The acoustic niche hypothesis explains how different species develop distinct vocal characteristics to avoid communication. The ethnobotanical knowledge systems portrayed through indigenous plant use demonstrate traditional ecological knowledge that has developed over centuries of close observation and experimentation. Many rainforest communities possess sophisticated understanding of plant properties, seasonal cycles, and sustainable harvesting practices that inform modern conservation and pharmaceutical research. The film respectfully acknowledges these knowledge systems while avoiding cultural appropriation. Behavioral endocrinology influences character interactions through accurate depictions of how hormonal changes affect social behavior, territorial defense, and reproductive activities. The seasonal timing of various behaviors reflects actual biological rhythms that coordinate animal activities with environmental conditions. Stress hormones influence character responses to threats, while bonding hormones facilitate social. The landscape ecology principles demonstrate how habitat connectivity, patch size, and edge effects influence wildlife populations and community structure. The film shows how deforestation creates habitat fragmentation that isolates populations and reduces their long-term viability. The corridor connections between forest patches become crucial for maintaining gene flow and population stability. The contrast between urban and wild environments highlight different survival strategies, while showing how some species successfully colonize human-dominated landscapes. The film demonstrates both the limitations and advantages of urban wildlife adaptation. Pollination ecology appears through accurate depictions of plant-animal relationships that are essential for rainforest reproduction and regeneration. Many tropical plants depend on specific animal species for pollination services, creating intricate ecological networks that can collapse if key species are eliminated. The film subtly incorporates these relationships while focusing on the main narrative. The restoration ecology principles underlying the environmental recovery themes reflect actual scientific approaches to habitat restoration and ecosystem rehabilitation, successful restoring of ecological. The film shows how protecting existing habitats is more effective than attempting to restore degraded areas. Molecular ecology techniques inform the scientific methods used by Linda and Tullio to identify and track bird populations. DNA analysis from feathers, nests, and other biological samples allows researchers to determine population structure, genetic diversity, and migration patterns, without disturbing the animals directly. Tools. The island biogeography theory explains how isolated populations develop unique characteristics and face increased extinction risks compared to mainland populations. The hidden macaw community represents an island-like population that has evolved distinct cultural traditions while maintaining genetic connection to the broader species. The theory predicts that smaller isolated populations face greater conservation challenges. Phenology studies examine how seasonal. The film accurately depicts seasonal patterns of breeding, migration, and resource availability that coordinate animal activities with environmental conditions. Changes in phenological timing can disrupt ecological relationships and food web stability. Community ecology principles govern the interactions between different species within the rainforest ecosystem and determine community structure and stability. The film shows how competition, predation, the diversity of species interactions maintains ecosystem resilience and provides multiple pathways for energy and nutrient cycling. The evolutionary ecology perspective examines how natural selection shapes behavioral strategies, physiological adaptations, and life history patterns in response to environmental pressures. Different species demonstrate evolutionary adaptations that reflect their ecological. Population genetics concepts explain how small, isolated populations face genetic bottlenecks, inbreeding depression, and reduced adaptive potential compared to larger connected populations. The discovery of the hidden macaw community represents hope for genetic diversity preservation, while highlighting the challenges facing small endangered populations. Genetic management becomes crucial for long-term species survival. The Ecosystem Services Framework demonstrates how natural ecosystems provide valuable services including carbon sequestration, water purification, soil formation, and climate regulation that benefit human societies. The economic value of these services often exceeds the short-term profits from resource extraction activities like logging. Trophic cascade theory explains how changes at one level of the food web can have cascading effects throughout the entire ecosystem. The removal of top predators or key species can destabilize ecological communities and lead to ecosystem collapse. The film shows how protecting individual species requires maintaining entire ecological networks. The metapopulation concept describes how local populations connected by migration form. Individual populations may face local extinction, but recolonization from other patches maintains species presence across the landscape. The film demonstrates how habitat connectivity facilitates these metapopulation dynamics. Coevolution principles explain how species that interact closely over evolutionary time develop specialized relationships that benefit both partners or create escalating adaptations in predator-prey interaction. Many rainforest species exhibit coevolutionary relationships that demonstrate the interconnected nature of tropical ecosystems. The film incorporates examples of these specialized relationships. The ecological niche theory describes how species partition resources and environmental conditions to minimize competition while maximizing survival and reproduction. Different bird species occupy distinct ecological niches that reflect their evolutionary adaptations and behavioral specialization. Disturbance ecology examines how natural and human-caused disturbances influence ecosystem structure and dynamics. Natural disturbances like storms and tree falls create habitat heterogeneity that supports biodiversity. Human disturbances like logging create different patterns that often reduce biodiversity and ecosystem stability. The film contrasts these different disturbance types and their ecological constants. The source sink dynamics concept explains how some habitats produce surplus individuals that disperse to lower quality habitats where populations cannot sustain themselves without immigration. Source habitats become crucial for maintaining regional populations while sink habitats may appear occupied but contribute little to population growth. The film demonstrates these concepts through bird population dynamics. Ecological stoichiometry examination. Nutrient limitations can constrain population growth and alter competitive relationships between species. The film incorporates these concepts through depictions of foraging behavior and resource competition. The adaptive management approach to conservation acknowledges uncertainty in ecological systems and emphasizes learning from management actions to improve future decisions. The film demonstrates how adaptive approaches can respond to unexpected challenges and opportunities. Landscape genetics combines population genetics with landscape ecology to understand how environmental features influence gene flow and population structure. Geographic barriers, habitat quality, and landscape connectivity all influence genetic diversity. The film shows how landscape features affect the ecosystem integrity concept evaluates ecosystem health based on the maintenance of natural structures, processes, and species compositions. Traditional economics often fails to account for ecological costs and benefits, leading to decisions that maximize short-term profits while creating long-term environmental and economic losses. The film illustrates conflicts between ecological and economic values. The precautionary principle suggests that lack of complete scientific certainty should not postpone action to prevent environmental degradation when potential consequences are severe. Conservation decisions often must be made with incomplete information, but waiting for perfect knowledge may result in irreversible losses. The film demonstrates how precautionary approaches can protect valuable resources. Social ecological systems recognize that human and natural systems are interconnected and must be managed as integrated units rather than separate components. Successful conservation requires understanding both ecological. The film shows how human activities directly affect wildlife populations and ecosystem health. The resilience theory examines how systems respond to disturbances and maintain their essential functions despite changing conditions. Resilient systems can absorb disturbances and reorganize while maintaining their basic identity and function. The film demonstrates both ecological and social resilience in response to environmental threats. Ecological modernization theory suggests that technological advancement and institutional change can reduce environmental impacts while maintaining economic development. The theory proposes that environmental protection and economic growth can be compatible through innovation and efficiency improvements. The film explores tensions between these goals while suggesting possibilities for integration. The environmental justice framework addresses how environmental benefits and burdens are distributed. Environmental degradation often disproportionately affects marginalized communities, while benefits accrue to more privileged groups. The film touches on these issues through its portrayal of local communities affected by deforestation. Biocultural diversity concepts recognize the interconnections between biological diversity, showing how traditional human communities often maintain and enhance biodiversity through their land use practices. The loss of cultural knowledge often accompanies biodiversity loss, creating feedback loops that accelerate both forms of diversity decline. The film demonstrates these connections through indigenous knowledge systems. The ecosystem approach to management emphasizes maintaining ecosystem integrity rather than managing individual species or resources. An isolationistic approach recognizes that ecosystems function as. The film demonstrates ecosystem thinking through its portrayal of interconnected species and ecological processes. Adaptive capacity refers to the ability of systems to adjust to changing conditions and maintain their essential functions despite environmental stresses. Systems with higher adaptive capacity demonstrate greater resilience and ability to survive disturbances. The film shows how different characters and communities demonstrate varying levels of. The social license concept describes the informal approval and acceptance that communities grant to projects or activities that affect them. Projects that lack social license often face opposition and conflict, even when they have formal legal approval. The film illustrates how environmental destruction projects that lack community support face resistance and ultimately fail. Ecological footprint analysis measures human demand on natural resources and compare. When demand exceeds capacity, the result is ecological deficit that undermines long-term sustainability. The film implicitly demonstrates how different lifestyle choices create different ecological footprints. The natural capital framework treats natural resources and ecosystem services as forms of capital that provide ongoing benefits when maintained but lose value when degraded or destroyed. This economic approach to environmental valuation helps demonstrate. The film shows conflicts between different approaches to valuing natural resources. Collaborative governance approaches bring together multiple stakeholders to develop shared solutions to complex environmental problems that cross jurisdictional boundaries. Effective collaboration requires trust building, shared information, and equitable participation from all affected parties. The film demonstrates both successful and unsuccessful approaches. The transformative change concept recognizes that addressing complex environmental challenges often requires fundamental changes in values, institutions, and social systems rather than incremental modifications of existing approaches. Transformative change involves questioning basic assumptions and creating new ways of organizing human activities. The film suggests that protecting environmental resources may require transformative approaches to economic